Good afternoon. Sorry, I'm just gonna close my door. It is December 23, 2025, and it's a Tuesday, right? Right? I haven't been working, so yeah, the days sort of bleed together. Also, I just haven't really wanted to go outside. It was very windy recently and cold. Here in Sherbrooke, it is currently -3 degrees Celsius, 26 degrees Fahrenheit, so not too cold today. It's cloudy. I was gonna look, but I can just tell from behind the blinds that it's cloudy. It's gonna snow at some point, I believe. We'll get into that. The sun this morning rose at 7:25 a.m. and it will set at 4:08 p.m. in about an hour. That's 8 hours and 43 minutes of sunlight. I apologize. I have not. I missed a day on last Saturday. Last Friday. I did a weather report, but while I was walking to work, I had to go to work, and then I went to play some board games at a friend's house, but it was relatively early, and I got up a little bit late, so I didn't have time to do like an actual good in-room sitting weather report. And then I missed one day. It's like going to the gym, Like I missed one day and threw off the equilibrium. I threw off my streak, my habit, and then I just didn't really feel like it and so I didn't do it. And so I missed on Sunday the solstice, which I thought was just a day, but it was actually like a moment. I think it was at some point in the morning. I don't remember. I was sleeping. I wanted to be up for it, and then do weather reports during the solstice. I believe it's the point at which like the sun is the lowest in the sky or something like that. I don't know. But no, I slept instead. Bummer. But then I didn't do a weather report anyway. And yeah, I've just been sitting at home playing video games. The holidays are always a very difficult time for me, like a lot of people. Although I am grateful that so on the 25th I'm going to go see my mother, who I get along very well with, have a good relationship with. And I don't really have any like fraught relationships with other members of my family. There are some complicated relationships, but that's what families are, which can be a little stressful to navigate. But generally speaking, everybody's happy. But yeah, just since I'm not working for about like a month, although this year finally, which is good, I am financially stable for the time being, so I'm not stressed out about money. Until I start working again. But yeah, just tough because I'm lonely. It's dealing with a loneliness. Although, like I said, thankfully on the 25th, I'm not going to be lonely because I'm going to be with my mother and some of her friends too. So, it's really the before and after. My roommate is gone off to be with his family, well, his girlfriend's family, then his family. My very close friends that I see more often are off with their families, which is good. But, yeah, just feel lonely. And then, it's way towards cold outside, except for today. And yeah, this weekend, fucking Friday was really warm as well. Anyway, it's tough. It's tough. Lots of like being at home alone, playing video games, and then drinking at night, which is pretty sad. But I'm gonna get through it. It's not long, and yeah, I'll be fine. So I've been playing Detroit Become Human, which is good. It's a fun game. It's entertaining, but there are some frustrating aspects, like all like Quantic Dream games. So, like I said, I finished Heavy Rain. Wasn't really compelled to go back and try the different endings. I had a lot of fun. There's some genuinely like exciting, tense moments. It was good. This is the most recent game by Quantic Dream, and I got it on sale. I really love science fiction that talks about identity and like what it is to be human, which is a lot of science fiction. And I guess like I read somewhere at some point like an argument that like that's really what all good science fiction boils down to, is like an exploration of what it is like to be human, by putting human beings in these, at least at this point, impossible contexts, right? And seeing how different aspects of humanity shine through. But I mean, one of my favorite novels is Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick, which was adapted into the film Blade Runner, which is a masterpiece. For the book, though, there's some themes that are explored within the book that were not explored within the movie that I think are really interesting, like the themes about religion and stuff. But okay, I'm gonna have to hurry up. I don't know how much like storage space I have left on my phone. I haven't cleaned it up in a bit. The game's fun, but not like particularly profound. If that makes sense. It's not like a very like in-depth exploration. It does explore some of these themes about identity and free will, and I like the world building that they did. Like it happens in Detroit, which is was like a sort of an industrial epicenter of the United States, with car manufacturing until that was shipped off overseas. But now Detroit is once again this like huge industrial powerhouse because they manufacture androids, but which are then leading to a bunch of like massive job loss, which creates a lot of like conflict within this world, which I think is great. And there are little like magazines that you can find, little articles about the world that are very interesting. Anyway, it's really fun, except for some aspects are a little bit janky, and one character in particular, his missions are not super fun, very like linear, and the whole like attraction of the game is that your choices matter. So like they do like their little like flowcharts, which you can look at like while you're playing, of like all the different like things you can discover. It doesn't say what it is before, but like that you can discover these things and how they're going to branch off. It's pretty cool. It does sort of like break the immersion, the fact that you can look at it while you're playing, be like, oh well, I missed something here. Anyway, but which then led me to think of Isaac Asimov, who I've not read. I have the Foundation, like a trilogy. So it is 3 books. The Foundation trilogy, which I started and I found like really fascinating conceptually, but I started reading it like a decade ago, and then I spilled a bunch of beer on the copy that I had, and then by the time it like dried out, I moved on to something else. And I was thinking about Isaac Asimov's like novels and short stories about robots, and I was thinking about iRobot. I'm like, I think I should read iRobot, which then led me to the song that I'm thinking of, which is not going to make sense to anybody who has not been listening to the podcast Comedy Bang Bang for quite some time. But today I'm thinking about the song Please Don't Joke About iRobot This Christmas, which is a song sung by Paul F. Tompkins and Scott Aukerman. So Scott Aukerman, the host of Comedy Bang Bang, Paul F. Tompkins, like the most recurring guest and performer on that podcast. Which, if you don't know, it's an improv comedy podcast. It's been around for 16 years now. It's my favorite podcast, and probably like 10 years ago, Paul Tompkins, who was guest hosting with Scott Arkman, doing the best of episodes around Christmas. Anyway, they made this sort of like offhand joke about like not joking about iRobot. Definitely shouldn't joke about iRobot during the holidays. And they joked about how it would be funny if there was a song about that. And then the next year they performed a song, a country song about how important it is to not joke about iRobot during Christmas time. That's what I'm thinking about. I'm going to get back to it. I'm going to play more Detroit Become Human. I would like to install Arch Linux on a laptop because I installed a Debian-based distribution. I can't get the tools for my true random number generator, my TRNG v3, which uses reverse avalanche noise, I believe, among other methods to create truly random numbers. I just want to mess around with that in Linux and like filling up the entropy pool. Because like for years I've had this and I've just been like directly like pulling it and accessing it to get random bytes, but I would like to get it to work on Linux, but for some reason the tools that are recommended from the device's website, which is getting sort of old, so like the documentation is pretty old, hasn't been updated in like almost a decade, I think. For some reason don't work on Debian-based distributions, so I would like to just try something else. It could be anything else, it's just that like I've used Arch before and it's pretty easy to install, so and then what else do I want to do? Get a copy of iRobot, put that on my e-reader. Oh yeah, also speaking of randomness, we're playing this game called Queue Up, which is really fantastic, actually. It's like a parody of like esports and live service games. It reminds me a lot of Magic Gathering Arena that I played a lot. But things with like, you know, battle passes and item shops and fucking rankings and stuff. But the whole conceit is that like the actual game is just totally, truly random. It's just coin flipping. But the whole point of the game is that you can then like unlock these items, which, depending on whether you win or you lose the toss, will give you more points. So, but there's absolutely no skill involved in the actual like gameplay, which I think is very funny. Like, and just to tell you the type of humor, like in the beginning, you'll have like the user agreement, the end user license agreement, which is like super long and just goes into a lot of detail about how it's not real and it's fictitious. And it just gets more and more convoluted. And then, but then you have to scroll down, and it even tells you like, hey, you should just scroll down and not read this because like none of this is real. But anyway, I read the whole thing, and once you scroll all the way down, you try to hit the accept button, and the accept button runs away. So I do want to play a bit more of that. And then I want to go to the grocery store because it's probably going to be open tomorrow, but it's going to be very busy. I also have to go check on my friend's cat. Not tonight, but tomorrow. Oh, and then the new episode of Fallout is coming out tonight, so I'm going to watch Fallout. Okay, later today. It's going to snow, like I said. Yeah. It's going to have some flurries of snow. -3 degrees Celsius, 27 degrees Fahrenheit, starting at 4 p.m. And it's going to really start snowing more heavily at 5 p.m., -3 degrees Celsius, 27 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's going to stay -3 degrees Celsius, 27 degrees Fahrenheit, consistently for the rest of the day. I'm probably not going to go out before the sun sets, but yeah, that's all I have to say about that. All right, sorry I haven't been uploading, but I'm going to get back to it, hopefully, because it feels good to do this every day. All right, everyone, have a great day.